but Ime Udoka can coach, and coaching matters. I always say coaching matters, and that guy I think is the best coach in the Western Conference. So that should be interesting. Greetings and salutations, and welcome to the Odd Coaches Podcast. I am your host, Dr. Keith Adams, and on today's Wind Up Wednesday edition, we go back to our regular schedule. It is NBA and WNBA, and there's a lot going on, and we're glad to put college to bed and go back to the professional ranks. So in segment one, we will get you playoff ready, see the teams that you need to look at. In segment two, we'll talk about our stories of the week. And in segment three, we will talk about the WNBA draft and get you not ready for it because the draft takes place on Monday and this comes out Wednesday. But we're going to give you some perspective so you can go back and look and see what moves were made. Special co-host today. We're part of the NABC, National Association of Basketball Coaches Mentor Circles, and my mentee is here, Francois, from just outside of Paris, France. Francois, thank you for joining us on the Odd Coaches Podcast, and fans, he will also be on tomorrow's show talking about the current state of college athletics. Francois, how we doing today, man?
I'm good, very good, and my pleasure to be able to join this show and to talk about basketball. It's what we love, and I'm ready to go on and talk about everything that we can talk to about the game.
All right, so Eastern Conference, as we joked during March Madness, Cleveland's 1, Boston's 2, Knicks are 3, Pacers 4, Bucks 5, Detroit 6, and on the outside looking in, messing around with the play-in game, the Orlando Magic, the Atlanta Hawks, Chicago Bulls, and the Miami Heat. The hottest teams right now in the East are Boston and the Pacers. Francois, any thoughts on the Eastern Conference? Any team you're looking at? Any team that stands out to you? What are you thinking, sir?
Yeah, this is a big deal because the Boston Celtics, they're doing something great. They have a unique style of play. They have many players that can switch on defense. That's a big deal in the playoff, and I think this is gonna help them. But my favorite team in the Eastern Conference are the Detroit Pistons. This team is playing different. Is playing all basketball. They're playing with fire. They fight on every position. They play defense. They run. They simplify everything. And Coach J.B. Bickerstaff is doing a great job, amazing job. He started doing that with the Cleveland many years ago. But what he's doing with the Pistons is crazy. They play free. They play simple. They enjoy the game. And this team is going to be very difficult to play in the playoffs.
Yeah, Coach Alfred Johnson, who's on the show often at the beginning of the season, said to us on the air, if there's a team to watch in the Eastern Conference, watch the Detroit Pistons. All right, so let's go to the West. Number 1, shout out to Mike King, Oklahoma City Thunder. 2, Houston. 3, the Lakers. 4, Denver. 5, Clippers. And the 6 is the Golden State Warriors. On the outside looking in, we've got Minnesota, Memphis, Sacramento, and Dallas will be in the play-in. Hottest teams right now, Oklahoma City and the Clippers. Francois, what are your thoughts on the Western Conference?
Yeah, I saw the game. Clipper won yesterday. This just 7 games in a row. This is going to be a good team. I was not a big fan of the ad of Ben Simmons with this team. But by the way, Coach Tyronn Lue is finding a way to make him play in the good situation. And this is a good team. And when I see also the Golden State Warriors, they play with a very, very ultra small ball. But I think it's gonna be difficult in the playoff because it's more, it's more about protective defense. The game is more slower. But my favorite team is gonna be the Houston Rockets. Why? Because they got dogs. They got players who can fight, and I think that I think like you always told me that, Coach Adams, to win 4 games in a playoff series, you have to be able to adapt. But it is more than just shoot the ball. You have to be able to play defense, to fight, to take rebound, and to be the most toughest team, and this Houston team has it.
Yeah. The only thing with Houston is, man, they're young, but Ime Udoka can coach, and coaching matters. I always say coaching matters, and that guy, I think, is the best coach in the Western Conference. So that should be interesting. All
Mm.
right. So in segment two, fans, we're going to talk about some of the stories of the week, and yeah, we'll talk about the Lakers too. I think we're going to have to. We'll be right back on the Odd Coaches Podcast. Hi, everyone. I'm Dr. Keith Adams, and for years, I've witnessed the struggles student athletes face on how to truly balance the demands of academics and athletics. It's a question that I have dedicated my life to answering. That's why I wrote Finding the Balance, my personal journey to academic and athletic success. It's more than just a book. It is my personal journey, and it is filled with hard-earned lessons from decades as a coach, educator, and now president of the CKA Safe Project. Inside, you will find practical advice, real-life stories, and a clear roadmap to help student athletes, coaches, and parents navigate the complex world of balancing sports and education. And now I am thrilled to bring this message to a wider audience as a proud member of the Cascade Sports Network. We're partnering to amplify these crucial conversations about student athlete success. I believe every student athlete deserves the opportunity to reach their full potential, both on and off the court and the field. You can purchase your copy directly from our website at www.ckasafeproject.org. Join me and the Cascade Sports Network as we work together to help every student athlete succeed. Welcome back to the Odd Coaches Podcast. In segment two, let's get to the stories of the week. So one, Denver fired their coach and their GM on the eve of the playoffs. And this is not a Michigan and Steve Fisher situation, folks who are old enough to know that one. Denver has been 12-13 since the All-Star break, been running around 500. You've got the best player in the world, and they're not winning. So they got rid of the coach, who's been a pain in the butt apparently, and they got rid of the GM, who's also been a pain in the butt because there's two sides to every story. And Francois has a unique take because the person who's replacing Mike Malone as coach, he's very familiar with. So Francois, tell me your thoughts on the Denver coaching change and kind of introduce their coach to our audience.
Yeah, the new coach is Coach Adelman, and what's crazy is that his father was an NBA. He's a Hall of Fame NBA coach. He coached the Sacramento King I think it was a great. They was in the Western Final Conference in 2000 against the Lakers with Chris Webber, Mike Bibby, Kerry Kittles. Was a good team, and yeah, it's very difficult, to fire a coach who won Coach of the Year 2 years ago, who won the NBA champion. The team is a playoff team. They was in the top 6 seed. But what I learned about that is it's great to win, but the relationship is also good because this is a relationship fire. They decided to move on of the coach Mike Malone. He was a great coach, but because the relationship was not good, and the owner think that this situation may impact the team for a long term. And yeah, we can understand that. But my thought of that is, I think that every coach should have the opportunity to finish what they start, and not, at just some week before the playoffs change everything.
Yeah. So I don't think Denver's going to win. And Denver has been making bad decisions in terms of management ever since they won the title. They got rid of some pieces. They did that. They added some young guys, and just like we've talked about in the college episode, not every young player is going to be ready to have an impact. And you got a coach who's trying to win now. So y'all did all of that. So good luck to Denver. They're not winning a championship, and we're going to move to the Lakers. The Lakers are the 3 seed. And I don't know if we're giving them enough respect or not. JJ Redick had some goals. He wanted to win 50 games, check that off, and wanted
Mhm.
to secure the number 3 seed, check that off. And the reason why he said that is because 76 of the 78 all-time champions were 3 seeds and above. You got Luka, you got LeBron, you got Austin Reeves, but here's my question to you, Francois, as we talk about the Lakers. Luka doesn't play defense, and in the playoffs, the further you get, the more that's going to be an issue. And we saw that last year and the year before with that. LeBron's 40 and hamstrings are tweaked and so forth. So, what are your thoughts on the Lakers? Can they win a title, in your opinion?
On my opinion, they cannot beat the OKC Thunder. But like you said, coach, on my opinion, it is playoff basketball. It is tough. You need to play defense. And when they play during the season, they play back-to-back game. There's many games. Sometimes team are not ready. But when it's playoff, you have to play defense. You have to protect the paint. You have to be able to adapt on the referee call, because the referee did not call the same foul in the season in the playoff. And when we think about the last NBA final with the Maverick, Luka has a big deal with that, because when Jalen Brown or Jason Tatum or Jody, they were putting a lot of pressure on him, he was not able. He's a great player, great, maybe one of the best players in the world, but he was not able to adapt on that. And that's why I think the OKC Thunder is they cannot beat the OKC on my own.
Yeah. All right. So let's talk a little bit about Memphis. What are we doing, Memphis? You fired your coach. You got your star player drawing what I like to call undue attention to the organization. And for those new to Coach Adamsism, undue attention is attention you don't want. Okay. It's one thing to get attention you want, but he's getting attention that you don't want. So Ja Morant debuted a new celebration after he was fined $75,000 for making finger gun gestures. And my question is, look, what are we doing, man? Can we just focus on winning? Boring wins more than it loses. You're not being very boring right now. And I don't think Memphis will be long for the playoffs. They're not a championship level organization because they're talking about fingers pointing guns and celebrations, and they're not talking about switching on defense and doing all the things you need. It's already hard enough to win. That's hard. And now we got to win with distractions, and I can't stand distractions. Francois, you hear me talk every week about my loathing of distractions and how I just want to play basketball. What do you think about Memphis's chances of winning a title this year? What do you think, sir?
It's gonna be very difficult, coach. I agree with you, because they have Taylor Jenkins was a great coach. They decided to move on. Tuamo Sisalo, he's from Paris last year. He was the coach of Paris. So I saw him. To tell you a story, I saw him in the summer, last summer. I was in Serbia, Belgrade. He was talking about it was for a clinic, and he's very prepared. He's a great coach. I think he's gonna be a great coach in the NBA, in the league. But it is for this player, they will have to adapt to his coaching style, and it's gonna be very difficult for them this season. And I think that on my point of view, they're gonna have big change in this summer for the Memphis Grizzlies. They're gonna change a lot of things, and but for this playoff, I don't see them. Yeah, maybe win one round, but it's gonna be very difficult.
Yeah. All right. So, fans, in segment 3, we're going to not recap the WNBA draft because it's tomorrow and we tape on Sunday, but we're going to talk about some things that you should be interested in as you do your own recap. We'll be right back on the Odd Coaches Podcast. Hi, everyone. Dr. Keith Adams here, and for over 30 years, I've dedicated my life to helping student athletes succeed, not just on the fields and the courts, but in the classroom and beyond. And that's why I founded the CKA Save Project. The CKA Save Project understands that finding the balance between academics and athletics is crucial for long-term success. That's why the CKA Save Project offers a range of programs, including personalized consulting, mentorship, and coming in 2027, our innovative Gap Year Basketball Academy designed to assist both young men and women reach their full potential both on and off the court. I'm incredibly excited to announce that the CKA Save Project is now partnering with the Cascade Sports Network. This partnership will allow us the opportunity to amplify our message and reach even more student athletes through the Odd Coaches podcast and other exciting initiatives. Join the CKA Save Project and the Cascade Sports Network as we empower the next generation of student athletes. Visit CKA on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org to learn more. Let's work together to find the balance and help unlock your potential. Welcome back to the Odd Coaches podcast in segment 3. We've got some thoughts on the WNBA draft, and Francois has coached women's basketball, so I can't wait to get his opinion. So the draft has already taken place, so here are some things for you to review. One, I wanted to remind our viewers that domestic prospects are eligible for the draft if they're at least 22 years old during the calendar year in which the draft takes place, and they've announced their remaining collegiate eligibility with at least 10 days prior to the draft. They've graduated from a 4-year school, and they also have attended a 4-year college, and their original class has already graduated or is set to graduate within a 3-month period. And if you're an international prospect, you need to be at least 20 years old during the calendar year of the draft. And an international prospect is designed as any person born or residing outside the U.S. who participates in the game of basketball as an amateur or professional. So the new CBA is coming out. Hopefully, it's a good one. And do we think the draft rules are going to change? So last October, the WNBA PA announced its intention to opt out of the current collective bargaining agreement at the end of this upcoming season. And the players are looking for transformative change. So we've got a lot of college athletes not even coming out because they can make more money in college. Obviously, Paige Beckers will be the number 1 pick. But you also have a few other players to watch. I'd like to know AZ Fudd is not coming out. Flo J. Johnson may have come out. I don't know. She had some announcement. I don't know. But you also have teams like Vegas. The league is caught up to Vegas. Golden State's building their team from the ground up, and we get to watch it. And we have several teams without first-round picks. Atlanta Dream, the Aces, the Liberty, Phoenix Mercury, and Seattle Storm. So, Francois, as a former coach of women's basketball, you're looking at the draft, you're looking at roster construction, you're looking at building a team. What do you look for when you are evaluating basketball talent?
Yeah, definitely. The first thing I think, coach, is you want a player that have fire and they want to compete. And I think the first thing that myself, but I want player that want to compete, that love challenge, that want to compete every day on every practice, on every game, and that's the first deal. And after that, you want player that can fix on your system. You have a way you want to play, and and you have to find a player that can play in this system and can also adapt, and that's a big deal. So, and the third thing that I can tell, coach, is that you want player that understood, have this discipline, on just not basketball, but how you eat, how you sleep, how you daily. Because being a professional is a long road, and you guys need to be ready every day for many years, and sometimes you just can't go down, but you have to be professional all day long, all year, all the season, and all your career. And what I want is those players that you can trust, because that will be professional to do their job.
Yeah. So in terms of evaluating, as I'm roster building myself, I like two pure positions. I'd like a pure point. I want my point guard to be a point guard. I do want somebody that's going to be a floor general. I want a
Mm,
five to be a five. I want a big to be a big. I don't want the big to be a high. No, I just want somebody who wants to be inside and really create havoc around the basket.
mm,
I like to do 2 and 3. I like that to be a combo, depending on how I want to play. And I'd like my 3 to be able to play 4. So I can have a 2 that can play 3 and a 3 that can play 4. And I like to float in and out, but I want
mm.
my point guard and I want my center to be pure center. So I tend to have on my rosters 2 point guards, 2 bigs, and then the rest are kind of combination players. And that's kind of how I look to build my roster a little bit.
Yeah.
So this has been great, man. I appreciate you. I know the time difference is a little funky when we tape. So I hope this is the first, this week is the first of many weeks you get to join us as we talk basketball all year long. And any thoughts on this experience before we wrap up?
Yeah, great experience. And when you get in this place, we feel basketball when we talk with you, and this show is basketball lover who come in this show, and we appreciate what you're doing for basketball, what you're doing for people, and we appreciate what you're doing, Coach.
All right. So on behalf of FD, my man, I am Dr. Keith Adams saying thank you for listening and or watching the Iron Coaches podcast, also seen on the Cascade Sports Network. And we will see you on the sidelines. Until next time, take care.
The Odd Coaches podcast is sponsored by the CKA Save Project. The CKA Save Project is an industry leader in providing student-athlete academic and athletic support. From assessing student-athletes' academic and athletic skills, to measuring and monitoring student-athlete academic progress, to improving student-athlete time management and organizational skills, the CKA Save Project provides wraparound services for student-athletes from middle school through college. For more information, visit us on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org or schedule a free consultation with Dr. Keith Adams by emailing cka@ckasaveproject.org. We hope you enjoyed today's show. The Odd Coaches podcast drops new episodes every Tuesday through Friday on most weeks. Make sure you subscribe to the Odd Coaches podcast on Apple Music, iHeartRadio, Podbean, Spotify, and YouTube. Follow the Odd Coaches podcast on Twitter and Instagram at Odd Coaches. Follow Dr. Adams on Twitter and Instagram at CKA Save Project. In addition, follow Coach Mike Francis on Twitter and Instagram at Coach Franchise, spelled Coach FRANCHIZE. For more information about the CKA Save Project, please visit them on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org. See you next time on the Odd Coaches podcast.